The Galactic King reclined in his obsidian throne, clawed fingers drumming against an armrest shaped like a screaming Terran skull. Outside the glass walls of his war chamber, nebulae swirled like spilled oil across the void, streaked with the trails of 1,000 conquered worlds. His advisors shifted uneasily in the shadows, keenly aware of the king's rising temper as he flicked through holographic footage of a single human woman decimating his elite forces on Terra 7. This primitive female dares to humiliate my assassins, the king hissed, his golden eyes narrowing to slits. 3 of my most lethal creations. 3. And she reduces them to data smears on my screens. She's resourceful, sire, muttered the Minister Conquest, voice trembling. The king slammed a clawed fist down, cracking the armrest. Resourceful? She's an anomaly that must be eradicated. Send in the Triarchs. Xyrix, Krell, Vornak. Make it look easy. I want her head in a stasis jar before my next meal. Yes, your majesty. The ministers scurried like rodents, their robes whispering against the cold floor as they sent the encrypted kill order across the void. Ellie Kane hadn't washed her hair in 3 days. Not that she was trying to impress anyone. Earth's last sniper general didn't have time for small luxuries like conditioner or dates. She leaned back in a squeaky chair, boots propped up on the scarred table of her dingy apartment on the edge of Fort Polaris. The neon lights outside flickered erratically, buzzing like a nest of angry hornets. Another thrilling evening of leftover pizza and reruns of Knight Rider, she muttered, flipping a slice in the air before catching it expertly in her mouth. The cheese was cold, but the victory was warm. The AI voice in her earpiece interrupted. General Kane, long-range sensors have picked up 3 unidentified vessels entering low orbit over Terra 7. Trajectory suggests a stealth insertion near your sector. Ellie groaned, dragging a hand down her face. Stealth insertion? Really? I was hoping for a quiet night. Probability of hostiles, 98.7%. Awesome. She stood, stretching like a lazy cat. Her black, tactical suit squeaked faintly as she reached for the massive rifle leaning against the wall. Betty, as she called it, wasn't some futuristic plasma weapon. Just a lovingly customized bolt-action beast with Terran engraving along the barrel. 1 shot, 1 coffin. You think these guys brought flowers or laser swords? Ellie asked her AI, slinging Betty across her back. Neither. Heat signature suggests biologicals with augmented exoskeletons. My analysis suggests they are not fans of pizza or witty banter. Well, that makes 2 of us. Let's see if they like bullets. In the shadow of a derelict skyscraper, the assassins materialized from shimmering cloaks of light, stepping onto wet asphalt. Rain spattered against their gleaming armor, designed for stealth and killing. Planet reeks of mold and hydrocarbons. Vornak growled, sniffing the air through his respirator. No wonder the humans are so violent. Living here would rot your brain. Focus, Xyrix said coldly. The leader's helmet retracted to reveal sharp angular features and eyes like molten silver. Target is Kane. Human female. Designation. Sniper general. Kills in the triple digits. Triple digits among primitives, Krell snickered, his mandibles twitching. She'll be no match for our neuroblades. She won't see us coming, Xyrix said, flexing razor claws. 1 strike. No noise. No drama. The king wants her head gift-wrapped. Let's deliver. Behind them, their craft shimmered under its cloaking field. 3 black pods, coffins in reverse, waited for their eventual return. Ellie watched from a cracked window high above, rain dripping onto her sleeve. Her thermal scope picked up 3 tall figures, glowing faintly against the cold darkness. 3's a crowd, she murmured. She unslung Betty, running her fingers lovingly over the barrel. Let's make it 2. Her first shot punched through the night like thunder. The bullet caught Vornak in the thigh, sending him sprawling with an alien shriek. They know. Krell barked, scrambling for cover. Ellie's voice echoed through their comms. Nice cloaks, boys. Shame if somebody tore him to pieces. Xyrix snarled. Split up. Flank her. Bold strategy, Ellie whispered, chambering another round. Let's see how that works out for you. The first assassin never saw her move. Vornak was still crawling to his feet when Ellie dropped from above, landing with a predator's grace. She rammed the butt of her rifle into his respirator, shattering it. The alien gasped for breath, hands clawing at his broken mask. "You know what I love about assassins?" Ellie quipped. "They always forget humans bite back." She pulled the trigger. One bullet, one coffin. Xyrix and Krell regrouped in an alley, armor dripping rain. "This is impossible," Krell hissed. "She's only human." "She's more than that," Xyrix growled. "She's Earth's best. Treat her like a threat, or end up like Vornak." Their comms crackled. Ellie's voice again, calm and taunting. "Two down. You boys still feeling lucky?" Krell trembled. "How is she on our frequency?" "Because she's smarter than we thought," Xyrix said darkly. "We need to—" A second shot rang out. Krell froze mid-word, eyes wide in shock, before crumpling to the ground. "Guess not," Ellie said softly, sighting down her scope. Xyrix stood alone now, chest heaving. Rage boiled in his veins, but deep down he felt something alien to him. Fear. "Show yourself, Kane," he roared into the storm. Ellie's laugh floated on the wind. "Why? You're doing fine walking into my sights." Lightning split the sky. Xyrix whirled. Too late. Crack! The final bullet punched through his chest plate. His vision blurred, collapsing as the rain pooled around him. Ellie stepped out of the shadows, rifle resting on her shoulder. 3 assassins. 1 bad hair day, she said. Not my worst Monday. As dawn broke, Ellie dragged 3 sleek black coffins into her workshop. She leaned against the first, sipping cold coffee. "Betty, we're getting too old for this," she muttered. The coffin's red alien insignias glowed faintly in the dim light. She smiled and scrawled a message on the first lid. "Return to sender." And with that, she keyed her autopilot to deliver them back to the Galactic King. The coffins were gone, loaded into a retrofitted cargo pod, strapped tight like precious cargo, and launched into the cold void with a polite note taped to one. "Next time, send flowers instead of hitmen. XO, Ellie." Ellie Kane leaned back in her creaky chair, boots crossed on the table as she polished Betty's barrel with a rag that had once been a Guns N' Roses t-shirt. Her workshop smelled of machine oil, old coffee, and charred alien armor. She didn't mind. It was home. "You know, Sarge," she said aloud, talking to the AI in her comlink, "I think I perfected the art of making interstellar royalty cry." "Statistically unlikely," Sarge droned. "But your actions have increased the Galactic King's stress hormones by an estimated 376%. I calculate he's currently stress-eating roasted Kravok tentacles while swearing vengeance." Ellie grinned. "Good. Let him choke on him." On the battered table beside her, an open pizza box displayed 3 lonely crusts. She stared at them like they were war trophies. Funny thing about pizza crusts. They looked useless, right? But they're the perfect bait. "Humans are perplexing," Sarge observed. "You have the galaxy's deadliest enemies, and you're monologuing about bread." Ellie raised her coffee mug in mock salute. "That's why they'll never understand us." Halfway across the galaxy, the Galactic King did not understand. He was still staring at the transmission from Kane, a looping hollow of her standing on Vornak's coffin. Sniper rifle slung across her back like a guitar. 3 of my finest, he snarled, pacing his chamber. His claws scraped grooves into the polished floor. 3 assassins, slaughtered by a woman who smells of dairy and bread products. His advisors cowered. "Perhaps, sire, we underestimated humanity's capacity for violence." Silence. The King whirled, eyes glowing like molten gold. "This isn't about violence. It's about audacity. That creature sent me coffins." And a mixtape labeled, "Oops, all dead." An underling dared to speak. "Sire, maybe it's time to cut our losses. Humanity is unpredictable." The King bared his fangs. "No, I want her broken. I want her begging. I don't care what it takes. Deploy reinforcements. Send a battalion, if you must. And when she's dead, I'll hang her bones over my throne." Ellie wasn't waiting for reinforcements. She was already moving, slipping through the rain-slick streets of Fort Polaris like a ghost. Her boots made no sound on the cracked pavement. Her eyes scanned every shadow. She knew the king wasn't done. 3 assassins wouldn't be the end game. Betty rested against her shoulder, the familiar weight grounding her in a world that felt increasingly insane. She whispered, "Ready, girl?" "I'd remind you Betty isn't sentient," Sarge said. "She's got more soul than you, Sarge." Debatable. Ellie's lips curled into a grin as she crouched atop a crumbling overpass. Below her, a sleek alien gunship hummed as it landed silently on the street. "Showtime," she muttered. The ship's ramp hissed open, releasing a trio of elite alien shock troopers. These weren't assassins. They were soldiers. Bigger, heavier, armed with plasma rifles that could reduce a building to ash. Their commander barked orders in a guttural language. "Spread out. Find the human and end her. No mistakes." Ellie slipped a cold pizza crust from her pocket and tossed it over the edge of the overpass. It landed with a wet splat near the squad's leader. The commander froze. He raised a fist, signaling silence. The entire squad went still, weapons raised. "Clever girl," Ellie whispered, lining up her shot. The bullet screamed through the air and cracked the commander's helmet like an egg. His body dropped before the others even registered what had happened. "Sniper!" one screamed in a panic. "Fan out!" barked another. They fired wildly, bolts of blue plasma lighting up the street in flashes of brilliance. But Ellie was already moving, vanishing into the maze of ruined buildings. "You're outnumbered 12-1, Sarge warned. "Cool," Ellie said, reloading. "That means I won't run out of targets." She led them on a deadly waltz through the city. They chased phantoms, her silhouette flashing between windows, her voice crackling over hijacked comms. "Hey, boys," she teased. "Does your king pay for life insurance?" "Find her." A plasma bolt seared the edge of her jacket as she ducked into a stairwell. She slid down the railing, boots sparking, and rolled into cover. The first soldier to follow her took a knife to the throat. She yanked his body into the shadows and whispered, "9 to go." By the time dawn touched the skyline, Fort Polaris was a graveyard. Ellie stood in the center of a ruined courtyard, surrounded by alien bodies. Smoke curled from Betty's barrel. Her hair clung to her face, damp with sweat and rain. She exhaled slowly. "All hostiles eliminated," Sarge confirmed. "Good," Ellie said. "Now give me a shipping crate. We got more coffins to pack." Back aboard her workshop, Ellie wiped blood from her hands as she surveyed the new cargo, a dozen sleek alien coffins lined up like dominoes. She grabbed a marker and scrawled across the first one, "Try harder." Then she sat down, pulled a fresh pizza from the oven, and took the first glorious bite. "Precision and pizza crusts," she murmured with her mouth full. "Best combo in the galaxy." And somewhere, light years away, the Galactic King screamed. The silence in the Galactic King's throne room was thick enough to choke on. His claws raked slow furrows across the arms of his obsidian chair, the sound setting his minister's teeth on edge. Before him floated a hologram, a Terran cargo pod drifting serenely through space. Its outer hull was painted with crude human graffiti, stick figures holding sniper rifles and a pizza slice, and on the side, scrawled in black marker, 3 words burned like a curse. "Try. Again. Loser." The king's lip curled, baring fangs. "She sent 12 coffins this time. 12 of my finest soldiers. Vaporized. Decapitated. Humiliated. And she sent them back like... Return to center parcel, sire?" Squeak and Abe before clapping both hands over his mouth. The king's snarl silenced the room. "This woman defies galactic order. She mocks me with primitive weapons and carbohydrates." "Carbohydrates. She does seem unusually effective for a primitive," murmured General as a massive reptilian with battle scars crisscrossing his armored hide. "She is an anomaly," said Minister Creel, fidgeting nervously. "Perhaps we should negotiate?" "Negotiate? With an ape? She'll beg for mercy once I unleash my death squads," the king roared, slamming a Talon into floor so hard the tiles cracked. "I want that planet burned, and her bones displayed as a warning to every filthy species that thinks to resist me." But deep down, even if he'd never admit it, The king felt a flicker of doubt. If 12 elite soldiers couldn't take her down, would a battalion fare any better? Ellie Kane reclined in her workshop, chewing on a piece of pizza like it was a key to galactic domination. The newly arrived coffins gleamed in the dim light, stacked in neat rows like macabre trophies. Each bore an alien insignia that glowed faintly red, blue, and violet, fancy designs of what amounted to glorified shipping containers. Nice craftsmanship, she muttered around a mouthful of crust. Would have been even nicer if their owners weren't trying to vaporize my spleen. It is statistically improbable for a single human to neutralize that many troops unaided, Sarge commented from her earpiece. Unless said human has an unhealthy addiction to caffeine and reckless behavior. Don't knock my coping mechanism, Sarge. She took a swig of lukewarm coffee and stretched her legs across the workbench. Besides, it's not like they're sending their A-team. Incorrect. Analysis suggests the last wave was the A-team. I fear their next deployment will involve planetary bombardment or worse, lawyers. Ellie grinned. Good. Let them bring their best. I've still got half a pizza and a bad attitude. Aboard the Galactic flagship, plans for all-out war were underway. The king prowled the command deck like a predator, his tail flicking with agitation. Deploy every available squadron, he growled. I want her surrounded. I want that woman crushed like the bug she is. But, sire, a timid tactician ventured. Intelligence reports suggest her tactics rely on unpredictable human quirks. Perhaps a direct assault might. Silence. The king's voice cracked like a whip. What quirks could possibly defeat an army? Sir, the tactician hesitated. She used a slice of bread as bait last time. A slice of bread? Yes, sire. She calls it pizza crust. The king's scream rattled the deck plates. Meanwhile, Ellie was multitasking, dismantling alien rifles for parts, updating her playlist, Killer Queens of the 80s, and spray painting another coffin. This time, her message read, Try me again, Cupcake. Betty, you think they'll finally get the hint? She asked her rifle, running a cloth along the barrel. I doubt it, Sarge interjected. Your species has a history of doubling down on bad ideas. So does his. Ellie smirked. Then I guess we'll just keep sending their boys home in boxes until somebody wises up. A soft beep sounded from her scanner. Incoming ships. Lots of them. Ah, speak of the devil, she murmured, already reaching for her gear. The alien fleet darkened the skies over Terra 7, thousands of ships blotting out the sun. Scan for human heat signatures, ordered Fleet Commander Valek. The sniper general is our priority target. Once she's dead, the rest of this rock will crumble. Deep in her bunker, Ellie listened to their chatter over hijack comms. Blah, blah, blah. Kill the human. Yawn, she muttered. They're like bad movie villains. No imagination. Ellie, Sarge said sternly, you are facing a planetary siege. I recommend caution. Caution's boring, Ellie replied. She loaded a fresh magazine and pulled her aviator sunglasses down over her eyes. Let's give em a proper human welcome. The first wave landed near Fort Polaris. Troopers fanned out in perfect formation, plasma rifles at the ready. Remember, Valek Bart, this Kane is cunning. Do not underestimate. Crack. The soldier beside him crumpled. A bullet lodged neatly between his eyes. Sniper, Valek shouted. Take cover. The aliens scattered like ants, firing wildly into the ruins. From her perch atop a crumbling tower, Ellie sipped her coffee and muttered, Seriously? They always forget to check the rooftops. By nightfall, the ground was littered with alien corpses. Ellie worked her way through them like an artist perfecting her craft. Each shot precise, each kill a masterpiece. But she wasn't reckless. Between volleys, she planted traps, pressure mines, jury-rigged EMPs, even an old cassette tape of Eye of the Tiger blaring from a hacked alien comm unit. When an enemy squad found it, they froze in confusion. Commander, what is this strange sound? It's primitive battle music, Valek said uncertainly. Rising up, back on the street. The lyrics echoed through the ruins as Ellie picked them off one by one. By dawn, the alien army was in shambles. Valek limped to his dropship, blood leaking from a cracked respirator. He looked back at the battlefield, at the rows of bodies, at the glowing alien coffins Ellie had lined up like trophies, and shuddered. "This isn't war," he whispered. It's a massacre." On the hull of a departing pod, scrawled in fresh paint, were 5 taunting words. Humans. Low tech, high problem. Back on her hilltop, Ellie watched the fleet retreat. "Think they'll be back, Sarge?" "Probability suggests yes. But there's a rising chance they'll bring diplomatic envoys instead of soldiers." "Diplomats, huh? Guess I better bake cookies." She tossed her last pizza crust to a stray dog and headed back inside. In the void, the king received her latest package. Hundreds of coffins and a recording of Ellie raising a mug of coffee to the camera. "Your move, Sparky," she said with a wink. The king's roar of rage echoed across the stars. The Galactic Council Chamber was a cathedral of glass and light, suspended in orbit over a dying star. Delegates from every corner of the galaxy sat in floating thrones, their alien forms flickering in the sterile glow of holographic displays. Tails twitched, mandibles clicked, bioluminescent antennae pulsed in anxious patterns. They were all waiting for her. Ellie Kane strolled in like she owned the place. Her boots echoed across the polished floor, as if mocking the hush that fell over the chamber. A battered leather jacket clung to her shoulders, and mirrored aviators shielded her eyes from the blinding light. A steaming mug in her hand read, "World's okayest general." The Galactic King rose to his full, terrifying height, scales catching the light like forged steel. His golden eyes burned as he bared his teeth. "You!" His voice cracked like thunder. "You dare set foot in this hall? You, a filthy Terran ape who killed every assassin you sent and mailed them back to you in luxury coffins?" Ellie interrupted, her tone dry, almost bored. She took a sip from her mug. "Yeah, I'm that girl." The king's tail lashed violently, striking sparks from the floor. "You are a plague, a mistake of evolution. Humanity is a cancer that must be excised from the stars." Ellie smirked. "Funny, I was going to say the same about you." The council erupted in a flurry of alien languages, guttural hisses, ultrasonic clicks, and melodic tones. Translation drones struggled to keep up, spitting out a chorus of, "She's dangerous. She must be stopped. She drinks bean water and eats circles of bread. What does it mean?" Ellie raised a finger, spinning lazily in the center of the room. "Here's the thing, folks. I didn't come here to fight. I came here to warn you." The delegates fell silent. "Earth is off limits," Ellie said, her voice low but cutting. "I've been polite about it so far, if you can call shipping your goons home in body bags polite. But the next time you send a fleet, you won't be dealing with just me." The king leaned forward, nostrils flaring. "Empty threats from a lone human? Pathetic. We've analyzed your world. Your species is fractured, primitive. No one fears you." Ellie smiled like a shark. "That's what's funny. You think I'm the only one like this?" She tapped her calm hologram's burst of life around the chamber, showing Terran soldiers training in forests, deserts, and orbital stations. Each video was more absurd than the last. A man using duct tape to strap explosives to a shopping cart, a woman swinging a baseball bat at a combat drone, kids throwing water balloons filled with flammable liquid at alien mannequins. "Humans are chaotic," Ellie said, her voice rising. "We're stubborn. We adapt. We don't care about your shiny tech or fancy titles. And when you push us too far..." The holograms changed, explosions, ambushes, fleets in flames. The visuals weren't all real, but they didn't have to be. We pushed back harder. The delegates shifted uncomfortably. Even the king's blazing eyes flickered, just for a second. "This is absurd," he roared. "Lies. Propaganda. Believe what you want," Ellie replied. "But you're gambling the lives of your people on the hope that humans don't get creative. And trust me, you don't want to see us creative." A scrawny delegate from the Pluvian cluster chirped nervously. "General Kane, what do you want?" Ellie tossed a data stick onto the chamber floor. It skittered to a stop at the king's clawed feet. "Simple. A treaty." "A treaty?" The king spat the word like poison. "You leave Earth alone. No spies, no assassins, no fleets hovering in our orbit. In exchange, we don't start treating your galaxy like a galactic-sized paintball arena. Deal. The council erupted in frantic debate. The king's claws flexed. He wanted nothing more than to crush her where she stood. But even he wasn't blind. The human had killed his finest, outsmarted his fleets, and now had the entire chamber questioning whether their superiority was an illusion. Refuse her, and risk Terra's chaos infecting the whole galaxy, hissed one delegate. She's bluffing, snarled another. Are you willing to bet your homeworld on that? Silence. At last, the king growled, his voice low and venomous. Very well. We agree to your terms. For now. Ellie's grin widened. Good boy. Later, aboard her rust bucket ship, Ellie kicked off her boots and collapsed into the pilot's chair. Well, Sarge, she said, yawning, think they bought it? I estimate a 63% chance they believe humans are an unstoppable force of nature. And the other 37%, they suspect you're an unhinged lunatic who single-handedly bluffed a galactic empire into submission. Ellie chuckled, pulling a fresh slice of pizza from a box at her side. That's the beauty of it, Sarge. Both are true. She took a bite as stars streaked past the viewport. Behind her, a tiny decal on the ship's hull read, Earth, enter at your own risk. The galaxy, for the first time in centuries, was quiet, but not for long.